So, like I've said before, I'm on this spiritual journey, and just my wife and I had this experience in June of 2019, and just been learning just a different way of living. Like I said, I always had a lot of anger before. I just never knew why, but just been doing a lot of inner work, and with that, just going back to my roots and thinking of just a lot of different things. So I think I'm just going to talk about a variety of things of what I've learned for me in my experience, and a lot of it is being truthful to yourself, being truthful and having a lot of love for yourself, and it radiates outwards towards everything else, everybody else, and just kind of reminds me of I grew up in the I was born in the late '60s, so I feel like I was somewhat of a hippie child, bell bottoms, tank top, and no shoes, at the park, and I was always out in nature. I loved nature. I didn't realize how much I loved nature until now. I think it's very important to. I believe that it brings a lot of peace within, and I feel like how we're connected to everything and everybody, to this planet, to Mother Nature, and just my experience, just things that I've felt, and then what I read now just has a lot of meaning, some deeper meanings, and sometimes I'll reread it because I get more out of it. It's a little more in depth. So it's like I read a little bit, a variety of things, and it just brings up a lot of questions for me as to life's purpose, and I never thought about that before until I became conscious and awakened in a split moment, and so I feel like I've been asleep for a long time, for 50 years, 50 plus, a little bit more than that, till my happening, and just what I felt, flying to the sky, and just surrendering, letting everything go, just not a care of anything else in the world. It was like a detachment. I just detached from everything, and with that, it was like I experienced a lot more throughout time, and it brings me to a lot of polarities. I never knew of polarities. It was always I got so used to just taking the wrong path all the time, and that's the only way I knew. I didn't realize there was another option. And they have like the 7 laws of the universe, and one of them is polarities, and it makes sense to me, because if you think about it, in astrology, we have opposites, and so I've been learning a little bit about astrology, and a little bit about religion, a little bit about nature, a lot about nature, should I say, because it's all of nature, the elements, and such. You have your fire, your water, your air, and earth, and to that, it takes me. I didn't realize it, but it brought me to alchemy, where they learn of turning. I've said this before, that you turn these base metals into gold, and nature, out of the earth, is where they find a lot of these metals all the ore in the mountains and such. And it'd be, like I said, lead, silver, gold, all these things. And I think that alchemy had this deeper transmutation meaning of inner knowledge within yourself, of being well balanced, and what they say, the philosophers, the sages, of being well versed and well balanced in the four temperaments. You have black bile, which they connect to earth. They have yellow bile, which they connect to fire. They have phlegm, which is to water, and then they have air to blood. And those are fire, air, water, and earth. Those are the elements, and this pertains to the astrology of us, of the zodiac sign, the stars and everything. And it's just very interesting because for me it raises a lot of questions, and the earth, how in the composition of the human body, they say we have the carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and that's like brings up like 96 to 97% of our bodies, and other in our brain, the other 3%, 4%, and how we find all these minerals in Mother Earth, whether it be, like I was saying, lead, gold, silver, mercury, iron, tin, copper, all these things, and how the ancients based the planets, the planets which rule us in the zodiac sign. You have Aries, and there's 12 houses, and you have Aries, being ruled by Mars. You have Taurus, which they said was ruled by Venus. Venus and Mercury ruled two planets. But as I am reading a new astrology book, and I read it every now and then, just a little bit at a time, but it's like the wheel has changed on a couple of them. Because I always thought, why does Venus have two and why does Mercury have two? Wouldn't it be not fair in a way? So I just happened to see that actually it was online, I think, on the zodiac sign, how they said now they're putting, which is the old way, which is Venus, the new way, which is Ceres, and how Ceres produces cerium, which is atomic number 58, and how that is within our bodies as well. It's in the composition of the human body. I know I'm talking about a lot of things, but I just have a lot of things in my mind, as you can tell. And how, so anyways, I'll just get back to the zodiac, and how, Gemini is, I want to say, I think it's Mercury, and then I could be wrong, but I'm just kind of just stating whether that each planet, there's a different planet that rules a different house, and you have 4, which is Cancer, it's ruled by the moon. Leo is by the sun. Virgo is now ruled by, they say, Chiron, or actually that one was Mercury too, so I can't remember Gemini, I forget that one. And then Libra is ruled by Venus. Scorpio is now ruled by Pluto. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Capricorn is ruled by, I think it's Saturn and Jupiter. And then now Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Neptune is ruled by Neptune. And it's really interesting because if you go through the composition of the human body, what's within our bodies. They say the majority of those are in our body. What comes out of the earth's ground. So it's like we have these elements. We're like these elemental bodies, and I feel like our connection from Earth to the universe, to all these planets and everything up above. So I guess what I was getting at is my experience that I felt. I know I said before, I felt a few planets. It was weird. It felt like my body chemically, in my internals, were somehow had heated up and felt like they were just moving around in my atoms. And I didn't know all this stuff, the alchemy and such. And I just remember how my body felt before I even read everything, and it just felt internally like something was transmuting, something was changing in my body from that experience when I flew up to the sky. And I think I said I felt like I had grabbed like Thor's hammer or this lightning bolt. And it says, it didn't dawn on me, but it says in the composition of the human body that thorium, which is 90 on the atomic number, and it felt very atomic when I landed, like this explosion. And it was just, and like I felt like when I landed, like I said, all my emotional and physical pain was gone. And it reminds me how they talk about the caduceus in Mercury, where the two snakes, of energy of masculine and feminine, of positive and negative. I know I'm talking about a lot of things. I think I have a lot of energy within myself right now, just because I'm thinking of a lot of different things, what I experience and what I've been reading, and how it talks about the Shakti energy, or Sophia, or wisdom, or as they say, I think there's also Dina, Daena, is Sophia. Sophia is Greek, wisdom is Hebrew, and it to me, it all comes back to elements, nature, feminine, and masculine, the fire. And how they talk about, in alchemy, they talk about salt, sulfur, and mercury. And to me, that's, like in Hinduism, they talk about sattva, rajas, and tamas, and it's meaning of the same. They just have a different interpretation. And even the Hebrew, in the Kabbalah mysticism, they talk about fire, water, and air. Water being mem. I think it's 13 on the position of the alphabet, and 300, 13 and 40 of value. And then they talk about shin, which is fire. So mem is water down below, fire is up above. And how they talk about that's I think number 21 of 300 value. And then you have Aleph, which is breath, life. It's breathing in and out, inhale, exhale, and that's Aleph, and that's one of one. Those numbers to me, they line up as an 8 and 8, 88. And this just reminds me of when you go to a Catholic church, you see, I've seen on there where it says 8, 8, on a column, but it's just there's a lot of similarities in things, and I feel like it's learning about yourself, about learning about your inner self, and being very truthful to yourself. the anger, the depression, all those things have play, and do damage to your insides. And how they say a lot of the organs are connected to the planets, and it makes sense, like iron and blood, and Mars. It just makes sense to me, how we are connected, to, not just Earth, but to everywhere else in general. Yeah, it makes me think about a lot of different things. I'm reading this book. It's Gnostic. It's from the Nag Hammadis, and I just started reading it, but it just talks about love, about having love, and wanting to know God, that deeper connection. And I feel like, that spiritual path is learning that, is wanting to better yourself, to mirror yourself, because I feel we have so much potential. I feel like I had so much more potential now, of who I was. I can stand proud, of myself, and knowing that it was okay to let go of all that anger and that was affecting me, causing me to grow as a human being. I didn't I wasn't able to grow to, have those flowers sprout within, to learn and to love and unconditionally, regardless of what I went through as a kid and what I felt, and not just being truthful to anything. Like, I shouldn't say anything. I was truthful, but it was how you feel. It's within yourself. Everybody's different. Everybody has their individuation, within. You know, we all think differently. I feel like there's many paths, but there's one path that leads at the end. Yeah. So I was just feeling like I needed to get that out for me, on my experience and what I felt. So, anyways, yeah, I was thinking those, the three that I mentioned through, the Kabbalah, and Hinduism. They all come to elements like it's the salt, sulfur, and mercury, which I feel is like mind, body, and soul. Um, you know, it's mind, spirit, soul, the breath, body, water. Um, so yeah, so it was like, I guess I just had, a lot of experiences. And I know I say again, I'm repeating myself, but I feel like it was very elemental, um, and I felt like all of those of the zodiac sign, like I feel like we're all of that. Every one of us is part of the whole wheel. We are the whole wheel within ourselves, but there are a birth and a rising that tell more in depth, of your destiny, or whatever it is. I just feel like what I experienced so much. Experienced a lot, um, through my awakening. Yeah, and like I said, it was more a lot of polarities because to me, I feel like my main ones were love and hate, and truth and lie. It's like I switched it around, and went and I saw truth, and I saw love rather than the hate and the lie, which affected me physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. And as soon as I saw that shift, it was so fast that it was like I had to rewind in slow motion to go back to my roots and see what was the main source of everything. And I feel nature had a lot to do with that. I feel like the feminine part, like how they talk about, I don't know exactly how it goes because I don't know the Bible that well, but how, I was reading in the Gnostic, how they say God created man in his image, created he them, is what I see, what I read in Gnostics, created he them male and female. And I feel like that was for us to learn, for me to learn that it was masculine and feminine equality being born of. No more masculine and no more feminine, no more feminine than more masculine. It was an equality to learn both, to learn of the light and the dark of both. I had to know the dark to see the light, to see that shift, and to accept everything for what is, to appreciate earth, to, that's my heaven on earth, is to appreciate that, to be joyful, to be glad that you're alive. And, I used to always say, oh, I'm too tired for this, I'm too tired for that. Now I just do what I can do. And if I don't get it done, there's always tomorrow. I just feel like I was such in a rush. And that inner pendulum was swinging so powerfully that I got so used to it. I was being born in this 21st century with everything right here for us, for me, water, food. It was like I took myself back to the time where there was no buildings, there was nothing, and how people were I feel were so much more in tune and harmony with nature. You had to go out and get water, you had to go out and get your food, you had to do all these things to learn of nature, to learn how to survive. And I feel like that's something I forgot. Being born in this 21st century, I forgot about that. And I just still am blown away that, people in this world, there's people in this world that don't have water, that don't have food, don't have clothing, the basic needs in this 21st century. As a whole, where are we? Why are people starving? Why are people dying of thirst? Why do people have to go miles for water? I just feel there's so much more that we can do as a whole to help the people in dire need of the basics. Just the simplicity to be a human being, a loving human being, and find out what we can do to help people that are in of need. Like I said, I feel like everybody struggles. And it's just learning how to overcome those struggles, so you can know what it's like and be able to help the people that really are struggling. Like I said, they don't have food, water, all the basic necessities. just yeah, so that was it. I just kind of wanted to get a couple things off my chest and out there. That way I can move on. I'm sure I'll talk about it again. But yeah, it was just on my mind. But anyways, I feel like I'll just end by saying to be still and know, which is Psalm 46:10.